everybody, this is the Vikstrand. So, when this movie came out to raving reviews, one of the things that some critics said that this was a new taxi driver essentially, and they made comparison between Joe and Travis Bickle, and there are similarities of course, but if you're going to compare them, the obvious choice is of course Taxi Driver, which is the superior movie, but this movie did a couple of things I absolutely loved. There's also a bit of hurdles they have to get through, and some of them they didn't quite make, but almost did. I think, however, this is a really good movie, and do you think you will like it? Well, that's what we're gonna find out today. This is my review of You Were Never Really Here. So Joe, played by Joaquin Phoenix, he is a problem solver living in New York City, and if you want him to, find somebody, he's gonna find that somebody. If he wants somebody killed, he will kill them. He doesn't really care about any of this. He's very, very, very jaded and has no interest in his life except for the fact that he wants to take care of his sick mother, and nothing else really matters. And he moves throughout the city like a shadow of a man, haunted by a problematic childhood and from PTSD because of his experiences in war in some undisclosed country, which is probably Afghanistan or Iraq. But he has a new job now. He has a new assignment. He's going to try to find a missing teenage girl who is the daughter of a local politician. So he sets out to do this. This is not something that is out of the ordinary, even though it has to do with a politician. But he finds the girl fairly easy, but it's what happened next that becomes a little bit tricky, because this job is not all out as it seems to be, and they will find out that you don't want to make this personal with good old Joe, because it's not going to end well for you. And will this be, the start of his awakening from, being this shallow of a man, or will this be the ending that he maybe is searching for? That's what we're gonna find out in this movie. It should be mentioned from the very start, this is not some Taken or some revenge tale or something like that. I like that they could have had, psychological thriller aspects to this movie, and making it a little bit more that he's questioning his own sanity and stuff like that. And you could have made this into more of a action-driven movie, even though it's not really what this movie is about. It's more of, his journey and his psychological awakening and stuff like that. But there are, sequences in this movie that, uses classical action cliches and stuff like that. But they're not, letting the violence be the, main focus. It's a byproduct of what happens. I thought that they could have actually used that to their advantage, because I love how the violence is constructed in this movie. It's very visceral, it's very raw, and it's very authentic. I think that Joaquin Phoenix in this movie is absolutely fantastic. This is a one-man show, however, and he's a little bit lonely in this movie. I mean, Robert De Niro did have, a Harvey Keitel and Peter Boyle in Taxi Driver to, bounce off a little bit. Phoenix doesn't really have anybody else to act against, but he's so good that you're getting instantly interested in what's going to happen with his character and where we're going, because the conspiracy that is, slowly unraveling before our very eyes is very good, and the movie is surprisingly fast-paced considering what type of a movie we're going into, and you're constantly trying to figure out what's going to happen next, even though most people probably can figure out exactly where we're going. I would guess this movie is a pretty divisive thing, because some people will absolutely love it and you know, find psychological, character-driven aspects to it that will make them go, oh, this was so fascinating, and his performance were so raw and so emotional, and the things he did were so authentic, and I really believed him and stuff like that. And other people say this was kind of boring and kind of cliched, and it's just one of these art house movies that wants to be an action movie but doesn't really have the balls to do it, so they're trying to do something else and pretend that they are, you know, high art or whatever it is. Whatever you take from it, I do recommend this movie. It's not a movie for everybody, but I think that this movie has a lot of upsides to it. The story is good, it's well written, it's well acted, and I love the fact that Joaquin Phoenix really doesn't care about, you know, his appearance or his ramshackle apartment or anything like that. He seems to have made tons of money on this problem-solving business that he has, but he just doesn't invest it in his own personal appearance or, you know, buy expensive stuff or anything like that. He's just a very fascinating character that I believe 100%. I don't think I've ever seen him put on a bad performance, and out of all the great and fantastic performances that Phoenix have done over the years, this is probably one of my top 5 favorite of his. If you like his acting, and if you think you're gonna like this type of, you know, vigilante revenge tale, conspiracy thriller, but you know, being a rather small part of, you know, a psychological drama, I think you're going to say that the few movies that has been done over the, you know, past 10 years have been better than this one. But if you're into more of a, you know, balls to the wall action movie, you're not gonna find it here. It is a really good movie, even though some stuff they do is a little bit head-scratching, and in some cases they are actively working against what they should be doing. Because I think sometimes you should just let the story be what it is, not trying to cover up the fact that you're actually having a classical 80s action sequence, but you're treating it like it is some kind of a high art thing. You can still make it high art, but you don't have to shroud everything in artsiness just for the sake of it. But I don't know. I think You Were Never Really Here is a very, very good movie, and should be watched by people. And if you have never seen it, I suggest that you do so. It is not for everybody, but it is, in my opinion, a very well-made movie that you will not forget anytime soon. Even though Joaquin Phoenix's performance is fantastic, I will still say that Joe is not as compelling of a character as Travis Bickle were. Maybe this is a result of that they simply didn't have time to make his character even more complex and more compelling than what they already have done. So the movie suffers a little bit from the comparison with Taxi Driver. I give You Were Never Really Here 71 points. It is a well-made, well-written, well-directed and well-acted movie. It is a movie that is a bit divisive and will split opinions, but I think that this movie is more good than bad, and some of the stuff they do in this movie is very unpredictable, and I love how visceral and raw the violence is. And if you think that you will like this movie, I will almost guarantee that you will love this movie. It's not exactly what I love, but I think it was very, very good. So what do you think? Taxi Driver or You Were Never Really Here? Comment below, and I'll see you next time from Well So and So Reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.